Okay, time for lesson 2. This one's a fun one because we're going to be fixing a picture, and this is something really important. I think everybody should know how to do is kind of fix up pictures, even if it's old ones. It's something nice to know for like a family member that needs a picture retouching up, or just getting money on the side, having to fix up old pictures. This is really cool. So we're going to go to Photoshop lessons, and we are going to go to lesson 2, and we're going to open up this start one. Now it's a TIFF, so we're going to have to right click and open it with Photoshop. So let's right click, open with Photoshop. And sorry, this is how it's going to look when it's done. And I already done the project, so let me close it, and I'm not going to save it. Oh, my work. Let me go back. Right click, open with Photoshop. Okay. And here is your project. Obviously I need to zoom in, so let me zoom in like that. And I always like kind of adjusting my panels around and getting everything looking good before I get started. All right, the first thing we want to do is talk about pixels and resolution. So let me zoom in really close to this picture. All right, right here it looks okay, and then you zoom in, and then you zoom in more, and zoom in more, and the more we zoom in, you'll start seeing little boxes up here, and you can already start seeing them a little bit. So I'm gonna get closer, and now you start seeing them, and then you get closer and closer and closer, and now you see all these boxes. And see, each and every one of these boxes is a different color. These little boxes are called pixels. So let me zoom out. And when you're looking at it from a distance, what your eye does is it blends all those pixels together and it makes an image. So when I talk about resolution, resolution is the amount of pixels in a picture. So right now, if I go to down here, oops, right here in the bottom where it says, I've already explained your document size and then your level of zoom. But if you click on this little button right here, and I want you guys all to click on this button with me, and we want to go to, let me go to, I think it's, yeah, document dimensions. Make sure you click on that. Mine was already selected, so make sure you click on document dimensions. It's going to tell you your pixels. Right now it says I have 240 ppi. ppi stands for pixels per inch. So this one, it has a pretty good amount of pixels. Normally, you would like your image to be at 300 pixels. 300 pixels is a large amount and it's perfect. Okay, but let's say you have 72 pixels. That's a low amount, and that's bad because the less pixels, the less quality your picture is going to be, and it's going to look really ugly and grainy and kind of blurry. So the more pixels, the better. So you guys all need to understand what pixels are. Pixels are the more pixels, the better picture, but you're going to get a larger file. So right now this one is a good size. 240 is not too bad of pixels. And it tells you your document size. So it says it's 9 by 9 and it says 240 pixels. So that's what I wanted to explain to you guys. Pixels and knowing how to be able to see. So there's two ways of seeing pixels. You can see it right here, and this is the easiest way by clicking document dimensions to see your pixels, or you can go to image and then go to image size, and then you can see right here it says resolution 240, so pixels per inch, like that. So that's one thing I need you guys to know, is I need you to know, understand pixels, what's a good range, so 300, what's a low range, 72, and then how to be able to see it. Now, what I want to do is, the first thing I want to do is I want to crop the picture and I want to straighten the picture because this is pretty bad. So let's go to the crop tool. It's right here. We click on it, and then you're going to see this little kind of selection around it. And what I want to do first is I want to go up here and I want to type in 7, and then I want to highlight this one and I want to type in 7. And what that's going to do, it's going to constrain a box by 7 by 7, so make sure you don't mess up. And then what we want to do is we want to go to straighten right here. If you click on the word straighten right there, come on, and it gives you like this little ruler thing. You see that? Now all you have to do is you're going to click and hold right here on the corner, and you're going to drag to this corner. Make sure you do it on the corner of the color and not on the white. So see the corner of the color and not on the white. So what it did is it kind of rotated it and made it straight. Okay, so once you do that, now we have to come in here and then we're going to adjust the crop right here, the crop border, and we want to get rid of this white border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this, and make sure that I'm inside the border of the cropping. So again, I'm gonna kind of go in here, and then it's fine. Like you don't want to go right on the corner because see how I have white right there. So you want to go inside the picture just a little bit, not too much where you get rid of it, but you want to go inside the picture and make sure that you don't get any of the white border. And then once you have that and you think it's good, you hit enter, and then it straightened it and it cropped it for you. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's the first process, and I took notes because this one, there's quite a lot of things you need to do, and I took notes on what I needed to do, the steps. So I explained pixels, the large and small, and then pixels per inch. I straightened and cropped it, and now okay, document dimensions. I explained that to you guys. Levels. Okay, let's fix the color up on this. So make sure we have our layer selected, background. And what we're going to do is we're going to add an adjustment layer. You guys know that adjustments are right here. If you don't see it, then like it says like that, just go to adjustments and you'll see it right here. If you don't see any of this, then you can just reset your workspace. Okay. So right now we're in our panels, and what we want to do is we want to add a levels adjustment. Okay. So make sure this is selected. Go right here and just click on levels. And you don't see anything change right now. Now, what I wanted you guys to zoom into the little girl. So we're going to get the zoom tool, zoom in, and make sure Scrubby Zoom is on. I know it's like a funny name. Okay, now that you have levels selected, click on the white color picker right here, the bottom one. See, it says sample and image to set white point. So click on that. And now we're going to come over here and we're going to click on this white area in the girl's dress. So click right here and let go. And now you're going to see the whole image brighten up. So let me zoom out really quick, double click on the zoom tool. Oh, let me right in the hand. And look at, if I hide this image, this layer, you'll see what it did. See that? And it totally fixed a lot of the image. It made a big difference just by doing that one thing. So if you guys have pictures later on that are kind of messed up, just know that this one little option right here just saves you so much time. Because if I didn't do this, I would have to go in there and kind of figure it out and do a lot of other things. Where if you guys did this, it saves you a ton of time. Now, we have to do another one of these adjustment layers. Okay, so you select it. Let's do another levels adjustment. And what we're going to do is we're going to move this slider bar over to the right. We want it to be at 15. And we're just going to make it a little bit darker because it was really bright. And then the white one, where it's at 1, we want to put it at 90. Like that. Okay. Yeah, it looks a little bit dark, but we're going to come back and we're going to fix that up a bit. So far, what you guys should have done is you guys should have done 2 adjustment level layers. Okay. We should have done one where we did the white color picker, and we should have done one where we adjusted your blacks and your whites. And what we did was we made the blacks darker and the whites darker also. Okay. So these are called your midtones. Let me go back in my notes and see what else we need to do. So we did that. Okay, now we want to flatten the image. Let's say I don't want to accidentally adjust or move these or delete these. So what you guys could do is if you go right here to your menu bar, on your menu options in layers, you click right here. And what we can do is we can flatten the image, and what it does is it constrains all those layers into one image like that. So it's one image. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove all these blemishes. See this ugliness right here? Oops, sorry. All this stuff right here and this up here and all these little dots. We want to remove those. And what we're going to be using is we're going to be using the spot healing brush tool. Okay? Don't use the healing brush tool. No. The spot healing brush tool. Okay? And what this does is it removes blemishes. So it removes like things that you might not want on your picture that are like kind of bad, or let's say you took pictures for a wedding and the girl has a little bit of acne. Maybe you want to remove that. Well, you can do that with this. Okay, so let me show you. We'll start off over here with the top. You just zoom in, and then you get this tool. If your brush is really big, you can adjust it if you right click and do it like that. And I really don't like right clicking and adjusting my brush size. If you go on the keyboard though, and next to the letter P on the keyboard, there's the left bracket. look what happens when I press a left bracket. See that, how it's getting smaller? Now, right next to it is the right bracket. So if you click on that, it gets bigger. So you can make that bigger and smaller like that. And that just saves you a lot of time. And the way this tool works is, watch, you just paint over the spot and make sure it says content aware and make sure it says normal, very important. And then you just paint over the spot that you want to remove. See that? And then you can click also. Sometimes clicking works a bit better. And so let's remove all these things that you think shouldn't be in the picture. So like all these black spots. And you guys will be surprised on how well this tool works. Okay, you can kind of go like that and just drag in. Drag over spots you don't want. Okay, and this is how we touch up pictures. Now this is easier. In a little bit we're going to be using another tool that does almost the same thing, but it requires more of work from yourself, and it's more of a manual process, and I'll show you that one. So I'm just kind of removing these blemishes that shouldn't be on the picture. Alright, now this part right here, the big O, let's say someone folded this picture and this is right there. Well, watch this, kind of paint over that. Alright, we don't want any of this. And it's slowly going away. Alright, you're like, how is it going to think about doing this one? So watch, just paint it down. And paint some more. And see that? It's amazing what it does. Right there. Okay. And just kind of keep them going down. And if you see anything that looks funky, you kind of like, you can go back and touch it up. But so far, what I did was I removed all the blemishes. Look at that. I did that pretty fast. And it's amazing what you can do with this. So again, we used the spot healing brush tool to remove blemishes, things you might not want on your picture. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to remove this boy. And we're going to be using the content aware patch to remove the boy, and we want to make sure that we're kind of putting the right settings for this. So I'm going to zoom in and go a bit closer to the boy. Not so much though. And then the content aware patch is right here. So it's because the patch tool. Okay, we want the patch tool right here. Make sure it says normal. Oh, sorry, content aware. Make sure it says 5 as your structure. And make sure sample all layers is selected. Now, it doesn't let you select it because there's only one layer, obviously. But if there was multiple layers, see that, how it comes on? So right now, make sure it says content aware. Very important. Make sure it says 5. Now, you're probably going to mess up on this because you have to have a steady hand. You can't just click, 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 click going around it. You have to hold it, and you have to kind of move the mouse around the boy. So, this might take you guys a couple tries to get it right. And it's actually easier if you zoom out to do this one. Because if you zoom in, you have to like kind of go around and you'll mess up. So don't zoom in too much doing this part right here. So again, look at, watch. I'm going to hold, and I'm slowly going around the boy. Try not to go into the shadow, because we want to have this part removed. Okay, we're going around the boy. And I am not letting go of the mouse. I'm just following the contour of the boy's shape, because he is not part of the family, and we want to remove him. Like so. Okay. Now that you have that area selected, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and hold and drag this way. So watch, I'm going to drag over here. Oh, I messed up, sorry. Click and hold right here and drag this way, and you'll see that what's inside the selection is changing. And what I want to do is, look, if you drag up and down, it changes. What I want to do is kind of line up it as much as possible. I want to line up, see right here, I want to make sure that it's lining up, and I want to make sure this area is lining up. So watch, because that's probably the hardest part to fix, is getting that area lined up. And right about, it's tricky. That's not good. I would say kind of like right here. Now, see how like up here it's kind of weird? I'll show you guys how to come back and fix that. But the bottom part looks good. It just, this top part right here looks kind of funky. Now, once you let go, it applies that image right there, and it gets rid of the boy. let's get rid of this selection. So let's hit Command D to deselect the selection. And then we're going to go back and we're going to touch up this area manually with another tool. So we're going to be using the clone stamp tool now to clean up any mistakes that that other tool made. So this one is very tricky. So let me zoom in. And let me show you guys how the clone stamp, this guy right here, tool works. Alright, so what you have to do is you have to hold down Alt and you see a little crosshair. Now let's say I click right here. So once I click right here, what it's going to do, it's going to use that part where I clicked to paint over here. So you're using other parts of the image to paint where you, it's kind of like hey, I'm copying this area and I'm painting it over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it to line it up because look at that. This is like way off from where it's supposed to be. And so let me show you guys how to fix that. Alt, and I'm going to click right here on top like that. Now watch, I'm going to try to line it up like this, and then I'm going to paint like that. I'm painting. And then if you pull up like this, it's kind of painting the top area. You don't want to go too much though, because look at, see how it went over here. So look at Alt, and let's go back and click again. And then let's click right here and then kind of paint like that. And zoom out. And it's looking pretty good. Now right here it looks kind of funny because look, you see this repeating. We'll get rid of this little part right here in a second. But let's first kind of go back and let's take a look at this and see if this needs any editing. And I think that looks okay. The image isn't so detailed, and this kind of looks kind of blends in. You can't really tell a difference right there. But see how it's kind of like, let me go click right here. Like that, there we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay, now let's fix this spot right here. So I'm zooming in. You guys should know how to zoom in and zoom out like this with the keyboard from Illustrator. So I'm just zooming in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Alt. Now, if your brush is too big, you might want to make it smaller. Sometimes it's easier to make it smaller and paint. So look at Alt, click right here, and start painting. And right now my flow is at 80%. Maybe I can higher that. And so it will start painting more of the picture and not have to go over and over again like that. And so I'm just kind of painting different areas and getting rid of that blemish so you can tell I didn't copy it over. And then look at this, looks like rocks, so it's not going to be so perfect. But if you want this line to continue, you can hold down Alt, click right here, and then kind of go like that, paint it. And then let's get rid of this little dark area. So it's pretty awesome what you can do with technology nowadays. I got rid of that kid, and this part might look funny, so I'm kind of going to go right here and fix that a little bit, straighten that up. And that part looks pretty good. So far we removed the blemishes with the content, with the spot healing brush tool. And then we removed the boy with the patch tool. And then it left a kind of weird edge. So we fixed up the image with the clone stamp. So the clone stamp tool lets you copy other parts of the image to paint over. And now what I want to do next is I want to remove some dust and scratches on the image. So if you guys look on this boy's shirt, so right now I'm zoomed in at 400%, you can see that, and we see all this ugliness. Okay, we see all this weird stuff going on. If you go to filter, and then we go to sharpen, noise, we want to go to dust and scratches. So noise, dust, and scratches. And then just leave it at 1 and 0 and see how it does that. Hit OK. And so what it did was it removed all that stuff. But by removing it, it kind of made the picture a little bit blurry. If you guys see that, it's kind of blurry now. Like the edges are a little bit blurry. So what we're going to do is we're going to sharpen it up. Sharpen it means it makes it look more crisp. Okay. So we're going to go to filter again. We're going to go sharpen, but this time we want to do like a smart sharpen. And we want to change it to 60. We want to make sure it says preview. Okay. See how the edges a little bit, see, kind of sharpening it up. And if it, watch, let me if you adjust it a little bit. Let me go down. Not so much right there. Let me check. I'm going to kind of play around the different ones and see if it does a big difference. So you don't want to sharpen it too much. Look how it does right there. It looks pretty fake. And so let's go back to, let me check this one. Yeah, let's stick around 60s. 64 is good. Make sure it says 1.5. Make sure it says lens blur. And hit OK. And then we zoom out. No, that still kind of looks kind of funny. I think we need to do 60. So let's go to filter. Again, let me go to noise. I'm sorry, sharpen, smart sharpen. And let's do 60. Okay. So 60 was a good amount. I'm going to zoom out. And I believe we have our finished edited image. Now, looks pretty good. And let's take a look at the questions. I know we have some questions in this document. So look, if you go to lesson 2 questions, and let's take a look at these. What does resolution mean? I already described resolution. The crop tool, you guys saw what I did with the crop tool. All right, you guys can go back in the video and look that up. So how can you adjust the tone of a color and image in Photoshop? Again, remember I use those adjustment layers and the levels, and I use the white color picker to adjust my white levels to make it the color better. What tools can you use to remove blemishes? Okay, you guys know there's the clone stamp tool, which I used to do right here. And the blemishes, I really use the spot healing brush tool. And let me go back and open that Finder again. And then how can you remove digital artifacts such as colored pixels? All right, when it means digital artifacts, what I mean is how did I remove all like the scratches and that weird blue and all that stuff? And you guys should have known that we went to filter and noise and we removed it by using dust and scratches. And that's how I removed it. And it kind of applied like a blur to it also. So again, this is lesson 2. All right, there was a lot on here, but it's a lot of stuff that you're gonna use a lot of the time fixing up pictures. If you guys have any questions, let me know, raise your hand, and that's it.